Hi everyone, welcome to this Google Digital Garage training session. Get started with digital advertising. My name's Kirsty and I'm a skills trainer for this free skills training program, Google Digital Garage. I've been working in this industry now for around 7 years and I absolutely love working with startups, small businesses and anyone looking to really hone in on those skills to get themselves out there and really get themselves bringing in new customers, communicating with existing customers. And I find it really useful to be able to have these conversations that kind of break down what we don't know, because we don't know what we don't know in some of these topics. So like I said, we're going to be talking about getting started with digital advertising, and I hope it really gives you a bit of an insight into how to get started if you've never opened a Google Ads account before, if you're right at the beginning of that journey, but also if some of you have got an account and you're looking for some of those tips and top best practices around how to get started in each of those areas. But I'm not here alone today. We do also have our wonderful moderator, Roshane, who's already in the chat. Please do say hello, introduce yourself, let her know where you're signing in from, what's the business, and how you can potentially utilize getting started with digital advertising for your business. So go ahead, say hello in the chat, and hopefully we'll be able to communicate and have a bit of a conversation there, because we can't see you, we can't hear you, but what we both can do today is have that conversation in the chat. So while you say hello, I'm also going to run through a little bit of housekeeping. First of all, if you have any trouble hearing or seeing the webinar for whatever reason, the image isn't working, or the sound is off, try refreshing your browser. Hopefully that will fix any bugs in the system. You know, sometimes they come through and YouTube throws a couple of gremlins at us, and that age-old turn it on and off again hopefully will help fix any of those issues. If you'd like to join in with that instant chat that I was just talking about, it should be placed to the right-hand side of this video that you're watching right now. If you're on a mobile device, however, it may be that it's actually below the video, or you may have the option to switch between a Q&A tab, the video tab, and at the top of the screen, depending on the device that you're on. You will need to make sure that you're signed into your YouTube account so that you can comment and talk to us in that chat, but it's pretty easy to do as long as you've got a YouTube or Google account. I will be pausing throughout to answer questions. Like I said, we've got the moderator there as well, who's also going to be sharing some fabulous links for you and answering any of those questions that come through. And finally, if you need to make use of any captions, then please have a look, hover over that video, click the CC button, and we have got those closed captions running. So if captions is something that you need, go ahead and make use of those, as they are currently running as well. It's not a standalone session. This is a session that we have so many different topics inclusive in the Google Digital Garage schedule. So please do check out the link in the description of this video to head over to the Google Digital Garage website and go and have a look and see if there's any other sessions in the schedule that you can also sign up to, and hopefully we will see you there. So that's the housekeeping done. I can see a few hellos coming through in the chat. So hello Martin, hello Tirupathy, hello Julius, hello Vivek, hello Mayu. So many people coming through, and also Kike's lifestyle there as well. So Tirupathy says, I want to start social media marketing agency, but I don't have any experience. Okay, well, welcome. Hopefully we can start thinking about some of the ads. We are going to touch on social ads during this session, so that's going to be really useful for you if that's something that you'd like to do. So in terms of how we're going to break up this session, we're going to start by thinking about what search advertising is. What is search advertising? Because there's all different types of advertising when it comes to this umbrella term of digital marketing. You know, it's not just all the same thing. So we're going to start by thinking about search ads and what that is, what it means for our customers, and what it means for how we get started with that type of ad. Then we're going to move on to think about display campaigns and display advertising. Again, a different form of very visual ads campaigns that we can use to capture the attention of our audience. And then finally, we're going to wrap up today's session thinking about social advertising and the differences between the three different types, how we can utilize them, and what's going to be best for you specifically with your business, what's going to be best when it comes to you getting started. So before I jump into the first part of today's session, I also want to highlight a fantastic opportunity to book a one-to-one mentoring session with a Google mentor or trainer. Now this, as you can see on the screen, is completely free for anyone who is operating in the UK. Now you can be a business, a small business, a startup, a charity, a sole trader. Maybe you have just got started within a particular job role and you want to come on behalf of the business you're working for. That's also okay as well. And you can utilize these one-to-one sessions to really get into a little bit more detail around a specific question that you might have. That might be around digital skills, it might be around social media, it might be around ads and following up on today's topic. But it's really starting to go into some of those questions that we don't necessarily get time to go into and answer on these live YouTube sessions. So please do take down that link, and I'm sure we can get that shared into the chat as well for you to take. Yeah, I can see that there. So g.co/UK mentoring, and we will see you there hopefully very, very soon. So getting started with search advertising. What is search advertising? So search advertising is advertising on a search engine. Now that search engine can be Google, can be Bing, any search engine that hosts search ads. That's what we mean when we talk about search advertising. Now in the chat, what I would love to get from you, what do you think a business gets out of advertising on search? What's the goal? What's the advantages of putting out a search ad? And I'd love for you to tell us in the chat what you think. What do you think we get? Now, if you're still unclear what a search ad is, let's have a look at the anatomy of this search engine results page, or SERP, as you may hear it called the further you get into working with search ads and also organic search as well. So you've all seen a search engine results page when you've typed something into Google, which is called the search query, which sits at the top. At the top, in that yellow box, is where we will see those search ads. Now, these are text-based ads. They've got the little green ad, so you can tell that it is a sponsored post. It's a sponsored ad, and it's part of the total amount of ads that you can see at the top of your search engine results page. Now, you can have up to 7 ad placements within a singular page in the search engine results page, but they might not all be text-based ads, search ads. Some of them might be shopping ads. So some of you might have seen those visual product ads. They are also a type of ad that can appear in a search engine. At the top of a page, however, there are 4 potential placements. Now, Google's only going to have ads appear there that are relevant to that first blue label, the search query. And if there are no ads relevant to the search query, then Google won't show any ads. Underneath where those ads appear, that's where we then start to see what we call the organic listings. So if any of you have attended our Get Your Business Visible on Google session, where we talk about SEO, that buzzword, search engine optimization, then this is where that work comes into fruition. If you want to know more about the organic listings and you haven't attended that Get Your Business Visible on Google, then please do check out that schedule and book into the next upcoming session, because it's really going to help you break down what to do for this yellow section, which is what we're talking about today. That's our focus. But if you want to know more about that green box, the organic listings, that session, Get Your Business Visible on Google, is a really great session. So focusing in this top area here on our search engine results page, why do you think a business would want to advertise in a search engine? What are the benefits to that? Tell us in the chat, and I will come back to some of those answers. Tell us, why do you think it's beneficial to have your ad appearing as a text-based ad at the top of the search engine results page? Why do you think that's beneficial? Now I'm going to move through a lot of this session with a business in mind, just so we can really put some kind of real life examples into what we need to do to achieve our objectives. So we've created a fictional business here called Paulie's Pizzeria. It's an Italian restaurant. It's based in Birmingham in Edgbaston, and Paulie, who's the owner of Paulie's Pizzeria, really wants to increase sales. So he's interested to know how digital advertising can help. Now, when we're starting to think about search ads, we can break that process for search engine marketing into 4 key steps. The first one is all about your customers, understanding everything about your customers. The second step is understanding keywords and finding keywords that your audiences are searching for. Third, we can then start to create that ad copy, start to understand what words we can use from our keyword research that attract that specific customer that we know that ad is for or our business is for. And step 4 is putting it all together, which can sound intimidating, but it is really, really simple. And we're going to take you through each of those steps for getting started with your first search ad. And I can see Vivek has come through with an answer there. The adverts are paid and these are random according to keywords. Ooh, are they completely random, Vivek? They're not necessarily random. I mean, in terms of the benefits, it's based on the search query, what's relevant. It's not just Google plucking out keywords and going, yep, let's put this advert. It's a process. It's a bidding process. That really allows the correct product, business, service to get in front of the audience that is searching for something not just geographically relevant, but also within the question, the type of service they're looking for. So random it might not be, but thank you for your comment there. And I can see Mayo, easier to find and be found by customers. Absolutely, that's definitely a benefit. Emmy Sowick, hopefully I've said that right. It's what will help the business gain clients who are looking for exactly what that business sells. Absolutely. Absolutely. So correct. Spot on. Because what we're starting to do, and you can see through this step-by-step process, is connect what we do as a business through the relative keywords, the relative questions, to the specific audience that are looking for what we do as a business. So we're going to walk through this 4-step process for search ads. And step 1 is all about understanding your audience. Who is your audience? Where are they? What's important to them? Really start to think about those details so you can build a persona, a kind of user portrait of exactly who you want to get in front of. Now we can do this in 3 columns. You can do this in a simple table, or you can go down that traditional route of creating full personas for your business. Whatever works for you and however you can retain that information, go with that all times. Now, Paulie's Pizzeria, let's stick with our example business. If we were creating these 3 columns for Paulie's Pizzeria, we start with who is your audience? Name 3 potential target audiences who may be searching for a business like yours. And we're going for students, busy professionals, and of course, pizza lovers. So we can start to build this top level understanding of exactly who our audience is. When it comes to the middle column, where are they? We can start to think, okay, well, the pizza service, the pizza business was based in Edgbaston in Birmingham. So we want to start to look at some of those geographical locations that our customers might be. Edgbaston, of course, that's where we're based as a business. Selly Oak, so a neighbouring town perhaps. Or we could look at a catchment area such as a postcode or a zip code for those of you that are not based in the UK. What's important to them? Well, we want to know what makes our customers tick. What do they care about? Because that's going to inform us about what they want from our product, what they want from our service. Now, we can find some of this information on things like reviews, comments on social media, pictures they might have shared alongside something like our Google business profile. So we can start to have a look at what's important to our customers. And again, we want to name 3 things that are important to them when it comes to products like yours. So for Paulie's Pizzeria, the things that we found are most important are the variety of toppings, fast delivery, and authentic ingredients. So you can see, even from this really basic information, we've started to build a clearer understanding on exactly who Paulie's Pizzeria's core audience is. And that's super important. Before we invest anything into advertising, we really need to understand who we're talking to, because it's going to help what we create connect a lot quicker, a lot more authentically, and a lot more directly with the people that are going to become our future customers. So once we've done that, step 2 is to start thinking about creating a keyword plan. So now that we understand our target audience, we want to start understanding the words that they use when they make a search online. So remember that SERP, that search engine results page that we've all seen. What are your customers typing in to that search query bar in order to find your business? And there's loads of different ways that we can start to create a keyword plan and start to do that research. And I'm going to talk about a few different tools that you can use as well. But let's start by keeping it nice and simple. First of all, what's a keyword? What does that mean? Now, keywords are words or phrases, because we also have something called a long tail keyword, which is anything between 3 to 5 words that makes up more of a phrase or sometimes a question. But a keyword is a word or a phrase that are used to match what we've put out there as an ad with the terms that people are searching for. So for your ad to appear, you need a keyword to match some part of that user's search query. Really, really important. So what we can start to think about is, again, make a grid for yourself. Can you create a column of words that are closely related to your business? So again, sticking with Paulie's Pizzeria, words that are associated with this business: pizza, fast food, takeaway. So start creating a column of all of the words that are closely related to the exact type of business that you are involved with. Then make another column. Start thinking about keywords that are relevant to the geolocation of where your business exists. Maybe you are operating UK wide. Maybe you are like Paulie's Pizzeria and you're a local business with a local audience. And start to create a list of all of those words that can combine to create what we call long tail keywords. Small phrases. So you can see on the right hand side we've made combinations: pizza B18, pizza Edgbaston, pizza Birmingham. Then we've got fast food B18. So how many keywords, phrases, combinations can you then come up with based on your 2 columns of the words that are relevant to your business? So this is a little exercise that you can really start to try for yourself. Now, if you need some inspiration about actually researching what words are being used, there's a great tool, and I'm sure, again, we can get that link in the chat for you, called the Google Keyword Planner. Now, this is a really great no-cost tool that you can use to start discovering some of the words that real people are searching for when it comes to your business and some of the combinations that you're starting to think about. There's also another great tool that I'll mention again in the future called Google Trends, which is, again, completely free for you to use, for you to start having a look at real-time data, real data pulled from the search engine of how certain phrases and certain words are trending across the globe. So you can look at different time frames, different countries, and really start to understand how people are searching for specific phrases or words. Now, I want to jump into a little bit of an exercise, get the chat going again. So if you could, remember, I can't see you, I can't hear you, but I can communicate with you in this chat. What I would like you to do is help me match the keywords to the relevant business. Now, I have 4 businesses. In the blue box, we have mobile hairdresser in Birmingham. In red, we have phone repair shop in Birmingham. In yellow, we have Cupcake Shop in Birmingham. And finally, in green, we have an online fancy dress shop. So if I was to pick one, I'm going to pick the bottom left, Red Velvet Cupcake Birmingham. If that was the keyword, key phrase that I was going to choose, which business goes with that key phrase, that keyword? Red Velvet Cupcake Birmingham. Is it blue, red, yellow, or green? Tell us in the chat. While you do that, I'm going to do a few more. So if I was to go for something like Foam Repair Birmingham, then that is going to relate to that red business, the foam repair shop in Birmingham, because we're matching some of those keywords to the objective that business is there to fulfill, what that business does. Then we've got American football referee outfit. Great, that's going to go with the green business, online fancy dress shop. And I can see a couple of answers coming through there. Yellow, yeah, absolutely. So our Red Velvet Cupcake Birmingham key phrase is going to go with that yellow box, the cupcake shop in Birmingham. Yeah, nice. Thank you so much for taking part there. Now, instead of going through all of these, we have got a slide with all the answers. Ta-da! So you can start to see mobile hairdresser. We've got words like barber. So we're also starting to think about the synonyms, the other words that people use to describe what you do. And especially if you work in quite a large area. So those of you that are countrywide businesses, or you're operating across borders and you're an online business, starting to think about what words do people associate with those specific services. I had a really good conversation actually over the word wellies. So if I was working for a shop that sold shoes and they sold Wellington boots, there's a lot of different ways that people actually across the world call these types of shoes. You've got wellies, the colloquial kind of slang. You've got Wellington boots. You've got gum boots in some part of the world. You've also got things like rain boots, which is really common as well here in the UK. So there's so many different ways of describing the same product. So if you are creating ads for a particular place in a particular segment of your audience, it's really important that you use language that is going to appeal directly to those customers that you know are interested in your product. So step one, understand your customers. Step two, really go into detail about some of those keywords and understanding exactly what your customers are searching for online. And then step three, you can then start to make sure you're creating an ad, creating the languages, that's not what I meant to say, but creating sentences, creating copy that uses the correct language that's going to really entice your audience to click on that ad and want to check out what else they're going to find out after clicking. So we have the keywords. What's next? What we want to start to do is understand how those keywords are going to target exactly what people are searching for. And the adverts, that step three, creating the copy, is what's going to make that human reaction of clicking on the ad to find out more. Now, you can see on the screenshot here, we're actually looking at the mock-up that sits within Google Ads. So you've got a couple of options. You can actually start creating your ad and then come back and work on some of those settings. I'm going to walk through some of this in a second when we put it all together. But as you're creating it, you actually get a visual kind of preview of what that's going to look like in search, like what you can see here. So you've got for Paulie's Pizzeria, pizza takeaway in Edgbaston, fast 15-minute delivery. And then we've got the link. And then in the description, pizza to you in 15 minutes, or we'll give you a free pizza, order now. So start thinking about what value you offer as a business and what resonates with the customers that you thought of in step one. Which brings us to another exercise. So again, get your keyboards ready to get into that chat. I'd love for you to help me match the headline to the customer. So I've got three types of customers. I've got people who value convenience, people who in blue, in yellow I've got people who value variety, and in green I've got people who value an authentic experience. So if I was to pick 17 different toppings available in the bottom right, what type of customer is that going to be important to? Is it blue, people who value convenience, yellow, people who value variety, or green, people who value an authentic experience? Tell us in the chat. 17 different toppings available. And in the same way, live Italian music in the bottom left, that's going to connect to the green person, people who value an authentic experience. Yes, I can see a couple coming through. Yellow people, yellow. Yes, exactly. And again, yellow coming through there as well. Perfect. Ding, ding, ding. So someone who values having 17 different toppings available, when we think about our customer and who that matches to and who we want to get in front of, it's someone who values variety. And again, we don't need to go through every single one there, but here are some of those matched up ideas. So people who value convenience, being able to schedule a delivery, that fast 15-minute delivery time, that's really important to people who value convenience. People who value variety, 17 different toppings available, that's the one we did, and a different deal every day. And then we have that live Italian music that, of course, yes, and I can see Vivek, went with the green. People who value an authentic experience, authentic Napoleon pizza. Which only leaves us with step 4, putting it all together. Now, I said at the beginning, this can feel really overwhelming if you've never done it before, but we're going to break it down. The first step is to, of course, create your Google Ads account or sign in if you already have one. You're then going to look for that blue button that says new campaign, and it'll have a little plus button next to it as well. You're going to click on that and it will then bring you the option of your campaign objectives. So you're going to select a campaign objective. Now, only certain predetermined or defined campaign objectives are going to allow you to then follow through and create a search campaign, which is what we're focusing on here. Or you can select the bottom right option, which will allow you to start creating a campaign without a predetermined campaign goal. So we start to create our campaign, and we're going to make sure we've selected a search ad, a search campaign, because that's what we're focusing on here in this first part. Once we've done that, it's like filling out a form. We'll have that menu on the left-hand side, and we can work through filling out that information. Now, the first part is going to start to ask you all about your targeting details, your budget details. So what geographic area do you want to target? What specific characteristics of the individual do you want to target? What's your budget? How often do you want to serve that advert? Every day? Is it unending? What's your time frame? So all of that information is set out like a form, and you can work your way through it. The second part to that is then about entering your keywords. So what keywords do you want to bid on? Because it's like an auction system where you are bidding a certain amount on a specific keyword that you know is relevant to your audience. So you're going to input those in that next part. And then that third part is walking through that, again, step-by-step process into creating your headlines, your description lines, and seeing that preview of your ad in action. Now, remember to keep those headlines in line with what your audience is looking for when it comes to your business. And also include those actionables. Include any promotions or offers that you're looking to connect with your audience. Which brings us to our first pausing for questions. We're about halfway through the session, so if you do have any questions, please do pop them in the chat, and both of us will be there ready and waiting to answer. I am going to pause 2 more times because I can see there are no questions right now. But yeah, please do pop them in. Now I'm going to separate the rest of this session, starting to think about two different types of advertising to search ads. The first one is display advertising. Now, what is that? What's display advertising? Well, it's starting to advertise on a variety of different publisher websites. Now, when we think about display ads and we ask that question, what are display adverts? They're typically these very, very visual, what some might call banner ads, but they come in all shapes and sizes. They are predominantly image banners, which is why they get that kind of banner ad short form name. But there's different formats available. They can have text ads, they can be image ads, they can have video, they can have sound to them, they can have animation, and they're accessible across the web on all different types of websites. So we don't see these in the search engine like what we've just been talking about. We might see these on news websites or blog websites that we follow. So they're across different types of websites. Now, image adverts can be really, really effective on sticking in people's mind and serving as that kind of getting back in front of an audience that already know who you are. So when we think about display advertising and how that differs from search advertising, which is what we've just been talking about, we can do a direct side-by-side comparison. Search ads are focused around addressing specific search queries, which is why we talk about keywords. And actually, they're more relevant with a goal like Paulie's Pizzeria when the goal is primarily to generate sales. So people looking to generate those clicks that result in sales, search campaigns and search ads can be really valuable as part of that puzzle, as a piece of that marketing puzzle, because you're advertising into a space where someone has an intent to find a particular product or service through their research. However, display campaigns, they're focused around serving ads across all different types of websites, like news articles, blogs, local websites, etc., etc. And actually, these are more relevant when your objective as a business is to build or drive brand awareness and sometimes traffic. So there's a big difference when it comes to what your display ads are for and what your search ads for. And there's a big difference in where you actually see them as well. So again, we can start to separate this display advertising process up into these four key areas. Step one, noticing a trend, understanding your customers. This is what makes everything else happen. This is super, super important, because if we don't understand who we're serving the ads for, how can we understand why we're doing it and what the end goal, what's the result we're looking for? Step two is to start thinking about where we want to make these ads available. Is it based on audience? Is it based on browsing behavior? Is it based on a particular set of interests? Now, this looks a little bit different for those of you that have not touched Google Ads for a long time. We do have that fully integrated display network within Google Ads. So it's really about thinking, how do we want to utilize that display network? Step three is to actually start thinking about the ad creative itself and creating great content that's going to be powerful when we put it all together, which is step four. So again, starting with step one, understanding your customers. Now we want to start to think about the who again. So we've got students, we've got busy professionals and pizza lovers, if we're thinking about our Paulie's Pizzeria again. And we also want to start to now think about the where, not just geographically, but we want to think about the where in the sense of online. What type of places can we find our audience when they're looking online? Is it specific websites or types of websites? Is it reading about specific interests, specific topics? So starting to think about what type of website our content connects with. Now, like I said, it might have changed since the last time you've looked at this. Instead of using this tool here, Google Display Planner, which is actually sunset now, the Google Display Planner is actually fully integrated into Google Ads as part of what we call the display network. So in that setup process, when you're creating your display campaign, which I'll talk about when we put it all together in the next step, you want to make sure you have ticked the blue box that says utilize the display network. And that's going to make sure that you can create an ad that's going to be displayed on the most relevant websites to what you're targeting. Step 3 is then thinking about the creative and creating something that's as engaging as possible, is visually appealing, and is going to really stand out. And if you think about your personal experience with this type of ad, we ignore a lot of what we see on a page, especially when we're scrolling through websites that we're used to being on and reading. Thinking about what would catch your eye as an audience member if you could see these ads along the top or down the side or integrated throughout a blog post or a piece that you're reading. Users have become really, really accustomed to seeing banner adverts. So instead of ignoring them, we want to make sure that our adverts stand out. If we're using images, and we've got two different examples here on the right hand side, if you're using images, we want to make sure those images are right and that they really are visually descriptive. They give references to the fact that we're local or promote a specific offer. So we've got two very different types of visual ads there, but both of them. So we've got that visual for the left-hand side one with the pizza, and we can clearly see pizza in Edgbaston, so reference to that location. And then at the bottom, buy one, get one free. Buy one pizza, get the second one free. And we've got that arrow there to try and get people to click through. Or we could go completely text-based. Again, pizza in Edgbaston, we've got that reference to locale. Buy one pizza, get the second free, and then a bigger call to action there. So we could see and have a play and see which one of these land the most with our audience. Step 4 is all about putting it together. Now, again, we can create display campaigns by going back to our Google Ads account. We're again going to find that blue button that says new campaign, and instead of once we've chosen our campaign goal, we want to make sure instead of selecting a search ad this time, we're going to select a display ad or a display campaign. Once you've done that, it will take you to a really familiar feeling setup where you're going to have that menu down the left-hand side, and it's going to feel like you're filling out a form to make sure that you curate an ad that ends in that final practice of seeing the preview. So you've selected display ads, and then you're going to start filling out all of that information in regards to targeting, ticking that box I mentioned earlier to make sure your ad is available within the display network. Then you're going to also think about budget and timeline. How long would you like that ad to run for, and what's your kind of budget strategy? So are you going to be paying what we see more relevant or more commonly with display ad is what we call a CPM. So are you going to be paying per 1,000 impressions of that display campaign? So every time that ad is visible to an audience, every 1,000 opportunities to be seen, that's how your budget will be used. Once you've done that and you've gone through filling out all of the targeting information and how you want to get that in front of the right people in the right place, the next step is to actually create the advert itself. And very similarly to our search ad, you get this preview where you can really start to see what that looks like across different devices, what that looks like in different placements. But the thing to be aware of here is to make sure if you are going to include these visuals, video, animations, images, that you are creating something that is great quality. And remember those best practices. Is it visually descriptive? Does it give reference to a certain locale or locality, geographical location? And have you got anything around the actual offer that you're offering, the service perks that you're really trying to sell here as well? With display campaigns, as well as other types of campaigns, it's always good to make sure that you are willing to test all those different ideas, different visuals against one another, so you can really see what resonates with your audience, and you can make sure you're utilizing the budget that you do have in the best possible way. Really, really important. Now, do I have any questions coming up to our final section of today's session? I can see we have no questions. But if you do have any questions, we've got one more pausing for questions section. And I would absolutely love to hear from you. I mean, how about I ask you a question? Get your keyboards ready. In the chat, why don't you tell us both? Out of search ads or display ads, do any of them resonate with you for your business? What do you think would be the most useful type of ad so far out of those two for your business, for what you want to achieve? And what I want you to do is in the chat, write a small sentence. So I think search ads would be a great option for our business. Is that because? What's the goal? Because why? Is it because you want to reach more people to make direct sales? Is it because you want to really understand how people are searching? Put it in the chat. Which type of ads so far, out of display or search campaigns, do you think are most relevant to what you want to do, and why? What's the goal of you creating any form of advertising after today's session? And I will come back to some of those answers and read them through once I start seeing them come through. But if there's no questions, I will keep going. So, third and final section of today's session together today is starting to focus on the social paid advertising and starting to think about what that might look like, and why businesses might want to actually advertise on social media and not just stick with search ads or display ads. Maybe splitting that budget up and having some in socials and some in a search engine. I really want to start to think about why we might want to do that. A lot of you might already be on social media. You might have some platforms, some business pages that you're using, or the business that you're working for is using regularly. And some of you might have seen some of the adverts that come through on our social media feeds. I mean, I am an absolute sucker for a Instagram story advert. Honestly, I don't know what it does to me. I know it's an advert. I can see that it's a paid for story, but I am drawn in, and they just get it right every time in terms of the types of things that would attract me as a potential customer. So it's really interesting how different ads and different types of ad might resonate with a different type of audience member that you want to bring into the fold of your business. So when we think about social advertising, it's related to our social media, of course, the clue is in the title. But specifically what we mean by social advertising is the paid advertising that goes on via all the different social media networks, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube ads has its own platform, TikTok ads. So really starting to think about the paid advertising that we can do on some of these social platforms. And it's also sometimes known as paid social media advertising, or just social media marketing, SMM for short. So you might already have a presence on any of these social media platforms, but advertising actually allows you to push some of those connections in more hard to reach areas. So you're really starting to expand exactly where you can connect with people. So to start with that question, why should we use social advertising? Well, again, for example, if we wanted to build our brand awareness and a broader understanding of what our business does, we might create adverts with the specific objective to get our target audience to like our page. And you can see here, we've got an example of an ad that has that call to action button in the bottom right that says like page. So we're trying to build up that brand awareness, that understanding that here we are, this is what we do, this is what we exist to do. And you can see at the top of that example, it says Jaspers is a unique community destination for ultra premium prepared food. And then we've got Jaspers Market, grocery store, like the page. So we can really create a caption that drives people to really, in this case, want to become part of that community. Alternatively, we might use social advertising to drive people who already like our existing page or already exist as a follower to follow through to a special promotion that we're running. And we want them to actually get to our website and book a session or buy a particular product that we have on offer. It's really best to, again, think about your audience first. Think about who they are, what they want from you as a business. Is it a particular offer or promotion? And how do they communicate with your business in this social environment? Because if you can really connect with your audience, again, you're going to see more of a result depending on what you want them to do. So just like our search engine, when we looked at that SERP, that search engine results page, we could see that we had our advertising section of that search engine results page. And then at the below, we had in that green box, our organic listings in the search engine results page. Now with social media, we have that same dynamic. We have our organic social media and we have our paid social media, and we can compare them side by side on what the difference is. Now, with our organic social media, we're posting on our business page in order to receive views, actions, clicks. And when we do that, these views, actions, or clicks, these things that happen, are free. Now, I use that word hesitantly because anything that has that word organic in front of it is free in terms of money. We're not paying to place that there. However, it can take a lot of time to actually start to build up an organic posting strategy, whether on search, whether on your website, or whether on your social channels. This content that you post for free will then appear on your business profile or in the news feeds of people that follow you. However, we are restricted. We're restricted because we can only actually reach our followers, or if a follower shares something that we post, some of the friends of those followers. And even then, we're not reaching 100% of our followers. We're probably reaching anywhere between 1% to maximum 3%, depending on how engaged your profile is. Now, when we look at paid social media, this is where we're paying for those views, actions, clicks on individual posts or ads that are really tailored towards a whole campaign, maybe products, maybe actionables that we want people to take. And our adverts can appear in loads more places. In fact, we can actually preview those ads too. And we can reach anyone, not just our followers or potentially our followers' friends. Because people don't even have to be following our business page to potentially be eligible to see those ads because of whatever they're looking at, whatever interest they've got, whichever demographic they fit within, depending on our targeting options. Now, what's also great with a lot of social ads is they are what we call integrated within the feeds of whichever platform it sits within. So on the left, we can see we've got our organic Facebook post. We can read Life is a Journey, Find Your Workout Inspiration with Fabletics. We've got the same photo. We've got all of the options at the bottom there to like, comment, share, and it's an organic post. Our paid social media looks really similar, but there are some key visible differences. So you can see we've got that call to action, like page button on the ad. We can also see that at the top it says sponsored post, so people know that they are seeing an ad. But in terms of the caption, life is a journey, find your workout inspiration with Fabletics, and the image, they're both the same. But underneath, we also have that extra room to further entice people, look good and feel good. Fabletics offers stylish sportswear crafted from the best quality fabrics. So again, we've got that option to create a clickable post that links the audience to follow through with whatever our goal is. Instagram is no different. So on the left, we have that organic social media post. We've got the option to like, comment, share. We can see the caption available there. And then when we move over to the paid, that major difference is that actionable button on the paid social media where they can click that blue line that says shop now, that actionable thing where they can click through and they can follow through on whatever action we want them to take. Twitter, absolutely no different. So you can see on the left, we've got an organic post. We can still include visuals. We can see that we've got a GIF here. We can still have that text-based caption or tweet that goes with that visual. And we've got the option to comment, to retweet, or to just simply like the post. Paid socials on Twitter. Again, if we look, we've got our caption, we've got the image, and instead of using the link like the previous one on the left hand side, we can actually make that whole section on the bottom linkable. So when we click on it, they will end up, for in this case, safety.google, which is that safety site that would link and give them more information to be confident when using a Google product called Family Link. Now, again, we still have the option to comment, to retweet, to like, but we can see on the bottom of that post, we've got the little grey square and it says promoted, just so people definitely know that this is a promoted tweet, it's a paid social media ad. So once you start working through some of these channels and thinking about the fact that you can advertise on all of them as individual channels, even with Meta, you can advertise purely on Instagram or purely on Facebook, depending on what your goals are. But we always get this question, but where should I advertise? Now, there's so many different options. And it can be a real challenge, just like organically, which social media platform should I be on in an organic capacity? It's much better to focus with your budget, especially if you're here today with a relatively small budget as a startup or an SME. Start on a single channel rather than spread yourself too thinly across multiple channels where you can't see any significant data that's going to help you make decisions for the future. Look at the channel that really drives already the traffic, is really talking to your audience, and think about how you can start to utilize that budget on that singular platform before you spread yourself too thinly. But again, with socials, you can start to break down the advertising into a process. Choose your objective, choose your audience, create that ad creative, and make sure you have set your budget. So starting with those first two in terms of understanding your audience and the objectives that you have, the best place with socials to really understand who your audience is and what you want them to do next is to really make use and utilize what we call those social insights. When you're thinking about where your audience is, who they are, that demographic information, you can start to use within the Meta Business Suite, you can start to use the meta analytics. So if you've got both a Facebook and an Instagram page, you can connect both of them up into your business suite and start to monitor, start to research exactly who your existing audience is. That's going to really help you understand what to post for ads, but also organic posts on your social media. Also, via those social media channels, make sure you have a look at what your competitors are doing. How are they using different social channels? How are they engaging and interacting with your target audience, especially if you have a similar audience need and you've got a crossover there, so you are directly competing with each other. Have they built an audience with what they're doing, and how can that inspire you for what you want to start to post? And of course, if you have a website, have a look. Get Google Analytics connected to your website, because there is a report within Google Analytics that can start to give you an idea of which social platform is driving the most sales and traffic to your website. And that's really important, because you can not only start to see those individual platforms, but you can also start to make comparisons between time. So when we were doing this, what happened versus right now and what we've done in the past month. But also you can start to compare what we call the dimension, the what are we measuring? So you can create an extra column and we can start to see, okay, which channel do people come from and which age range comes from that specific channel in the most of cases. So once you've decided on a platform, you can start thinking, or while you're deciding, you can start thinking about the different targeting options against the different channels. Now, 3 of the top platforms here that people are talking about: Facebook, we can target via location. We can target via those demographic information. We can also target via interests or life events. So things like so-and-so has got engaged, so-and-so has gone on holiday, etc., etc. We, on Twitter, can target via location and demographic information, but also we can target via keywords or who those people are following. Really interesting. And finally, something like LinkedIn, which is a more business-to-business platform and a more professional platform there in terms of the world of work. We can target by location, we can target by demographic information, but we can also target via things like job title or specific skills that individuals have. So if we look at these 3 bubbles that we've got here, the first one in blue, I want to target females who live in Coventry and like jewelry and have a birthday coming up. We might choose something like Facebook here because we can target via interests, jewelry. We can also target via life events, anyone who's got a birthday coming up in the next however long. The second one, I want to target people who live in Leeds and are following my competitors, so we might use Twitter there. Keywords, we can target via keywords, so people who are looking for accommodation in Leeds, but also we can target via people who are following specific people, so following those competitors on Twitter. And the final one there, I want to target financial directors who work in IT based in the UK. So we might look at something like LinkedIn for this, because we can, like discussed, target based on job title, financial directors, but also some of those skills, things like IT skills. So it's a lot to think about, and we haven't got any questions coming through, but if you do have any, please do pop them in the chat, or remember, there's a lot of things that you can do to follow up with this session. The first thing is come back if you're interested in looking again at those organic search. I recommended the Get Your Business Visible on Google session. So please do have a look at that. And we also talked about analytics. Now we do have an analytics session that you can attend as well. For all of that information, in the link of the description, in the description of this video, there is a link there to our Google Digital Garage website where you can have a look at all the upcoming sessions available. Now, we also do have a great session or a great learning platform called Skillshop with Google, where there is a digital garage training session there where you can do a certificate that's all about the fundamentals in digital marketing. So I definitely recommend that you go ahead and have a look at that. And don't forget our free one-to-one mentoring sessions that are available for you to book at no cost, g.co/UK mentoring. And that brings brings us to the end of our sessions. Thanks for getting involved with all of my kind of mini quizzes there throughout today's session. And I really do hope that that's been a useful dive into the different types of ads that you can get started with as a business. I look forward to seeing a lot of you in many of our future Google Digital Garage training sessions, and we would also love to hear some of your feedback. So there's a link on the screen there, goo.gov/digital garage feedback. If you do have any ideas on what else we can help you with, how else this program can provide broadcasts that really help propel you into that world of digital marketing for your business, please do fill that out in the feedback form. We'd love to hear it. And as always, if you're talking about us online, please use that hashtag Digital Garage so that we can see what you're up to, what tips and best practices and tools you're using and putting into place. Other than that, I'm going to leave it there because we are out of time. But thank you so much for joining in today, and we look forward to welcoming you again to another Google Digital Garage training session sometime soon. See you later.